Hello, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are around the world, and a huge welcome to today's LLM Postgrad Insights. Today, we will be joined by St. John's University School of Law, based in and around the New York region. Just before we hand you over to them and go through a presentation and a Q&A afterwards, just a few house rules about today's session. So it is a live session. So if you are watching today on the Zoom facility or you're watching live on Facebook, LinkedIn or Twitter, please use the messenger facility, or if you're on Zoom, the chat or Q&A facility at the top of your screen. If there are any concerning issues, anything private that you'd like to talk about, please reach out to us via the contact details at the end of this session. Now, a little bit of information about what LLMstudy.com has to offer just before we go to the presentation. So we're the best portal for law students looking to study an LLM in an English-speaking course. A dedicated US law school section on our website. It's by far the most popular region of our website. Over 150 law schools available worldwide. Comprehensive database of LLM programs taught in English worldwide. Excellent advice on accommodation, funding, scholarships, all things we will cover later on during the presentation with SJU Law, and an opportunity for you to win a £500 bursary against any other scholarships or funding that you might have already applied for. Now, without hanging around any longer, I'd like to introduce you to Carl Olson. As you can see there, he is the Associate Director for Graduate Admissions and Global Engagement at SJU Law. Carl, over to you, and I will see you at the end for the live Q&A. See you soon.
And I just want to give a moment to thank you for attending this. Great law schools need great students. So having an opportunity to speak to you about our law school and having you take the time to be here is something we at St. John's Law genuinely appreciate. So I'm really looking forward to sharing with you what makes our LLM degree special here at St. John's and what value you might get out of a St. John's Law education by talking about the topics that are in front of you. So again, thank you for being here today. Now let me introduce myself to you. My name is Carl Olson, and as Gareth said, I am the Associate Director of Graduate Admissions and Global Engagement at St. John's Law in Queens, New York. What that means is that I am in charge of making admissions decisions for our LLM programs. So if you have any interest in getting your LLM in New York City or attending St. John's Law in any capacity, I am the person that you should be reaching out to. And you can see my email address here at the bottom. I'll be sure to provide that to you later in the presentation as well. I come to this admissions role from an academic background, and I teach legal writing and other courses at St. John's Law to LLM students. So if you join us at St. John's, I really look forward to getting to know you very well during your time in an LLM program. And once more, I'll just say that if you have any questions about admissions to St. John's, I'm the person to stay in touch with, because it will be me who reviews your file and gets you the information you need to become an LLM student here. So moving forward, I'm going to start by talking about the specific Masters of Laws degrees that we offer at St. John's. And then I'm going to go into more detail about why these degrees and the different options for the degrees might fit you specifically based on your background or what you hope to achieve in your career or in your educational progress. So here at St. John's, we author 3 LLM degrees, and you can see them listed on this slide here. The LLM in Transnational Legal Practice, the LLM in United States Legal Studies, and the LLM in Bankruptcy. Now, the LLM in Bankruptcy is designed for sort of domestic students who are already practicing bankruptcy law. And there are options for students who have practiced bankruptcy or insolvency law in another country to get this degree. But the main LLMs that I want to talk to you as an international audience about are the Transnational Legal Practice LLM, we call it the TLP LLM, or the US Legal Studies LLM. And I'll go into the specifics of these 2 degrees in a little bit so that you can help choose which one is right for you. But before I do that, I do just want to go over some of the common features of both degrees, which are listed here on the right of this PowerPoint slide. So in order to earn either the LLM in TLP or the LLM in United States Legal Studies, you will have to earn 24 credits at St. John's Law. Generally, that can be completed in 1 year if you are a full-time student, taking 12 credits each semester. I will mention that the possibility exists to take up to 4 semesters in our LLM program and spend 2 full years at St. John's for the same cost as a regular 2-semester LLM, if that's something that interests you. And that would be doing something akin to a part-time option. I want to mention here that both the TLP degree and the USLS degree help prepare students who are eligible to take the New York bar exam, take that exam and become a licensed attorney in the US. And that's going to be something I talk about in detail over the next few slides, because getting students eligible to take the New York bar exam is one of the prime benefits of coming to St. John's in New York to earn your LLM degree. Both of these degrees have online applications. I've mentioned before that I will review the application and review your materials with you if you are interested. And both of these degrees offer substantial scholarships. So, I'll talk a little bit about what those scholarships look like and what the actual classes look like. But as we get into that, I want you to, have that data available to you. So moving forward, before we talk about the specifics of these LLM degrees and helping you choose which one is right for you, I want you to think more globally. Why are you in this room today? What are you interested in achieving? Well, you want an LLM degree so that you can have a Master's of Law degree and likely advance your career. And given how many LLM programs there are, not just in the United States, but across the world, why might you want to choose an LLM program at St. John's? So as you can see from this picture of the left, one of our main appeals that we are in New York City, which is America's largest city and sort of the center of global legal practice. As many lawyers are here in New York as there are anywhere else in the world. And not only is our location of benefit to you, also how we've designed these programs is done in a very specific way, because we want you here to learn to think like a United States trained lawyer. What does that mean? If you have a previous LLB or another 3-year law degree from another country, we train you to take the New York bar exam with our LLM degrees so that you have what it takes to think and practice like a United States lawyer. We also really focus here at St. John's on leveraging our location to make sure that you have employment opportunities once you achieve your LLM. That can be internships during the LLM degree while you're here at St. John's, and it can be postgraduate legal employment using the OPT visa in New York or elsewhere in the United States. So not only are we focused on getting you ready to be a lawyer and getting you work experience, we also, like many law schools in the US, pride ourselves on a very high achieving scholarly faculty that will be available to teach your classes. And while you're taking those classes, you will be receiving support from St. John's all the way. And that's going to come from your academic advisors, which are the people that I work with here at St. John's, who make sure you know what to do while you're an LLM student, while you're taking classes, how to pass these classes, how to get the most knowledge you possibly can out of them, and career advisors who are going to help you find those jobs that make earning an LLM degree worth it. So, I really encourage you as you're considering St. John's to remember all of the things that make getting your LLM in New York special and not something that many other LLM programs can offer you. So if you're coming here as an international student, I want to go over some of these background things so that, when you're thinking about the degrees, you know that we're going to be here for you, giving you the support you need to flourish in your classes and not have to worry so much about the details of living in the United States without support from us. We have an International Student and Scholar Services Office, which is available to help you get your visa so that your entry to the United States can be smooth or seamless. We offer both on-campus and off-campus housing options. If you want to live in a dorm that is provided by St. John's, those are available to you. If you want to live somewhere in New York, that is available to you too, and we can help you with that throughout the way. We have many student groups here at St. John's that are dedicated to helping you find friends, not just amongst other international students, but the local students at St. John's. And your classes are also going to be featuring both international students who are here for the LLM degree and JD students who are, people who were educated previously in the United States and are now becoming an American lawyer. And then throughout your time here at St. John's, we will make sure that you have field trips, you have law firm tours, you have other opportunities to not just stay in class all the time, but gain experience outside of the classroom. So I know this presentation is directed mainly towards international students, so I'm not going to spend so much time on this slide, but I will mention that for students who have studied law in another country and have immigrated or moved to New York permanently, we do have options for you to receive your law license with the St. John's LLM. So if that is something that applies to you, feel free to reach out to me about this. So slowing down for a second, I now sort of want to go into why studying at St. John's in the TLP or the USLS, United States Legal Studies LLM, might be right for you, depending on what you're interested in. And one of the primary things I want to go over today that sort of makes St. John's special is the pathways we provide to the New York bar exam, if that is something you are interested in. So many students these days who have a previous law degree, be it an LLB or a JM or any other sort of bachelor's or law-focused degree that you've earned in a country that is not the United States, want to get their LLM not just to learn about US law in general, but also to gain the steps you need to take a bar exam in the US so that you can become an international lawyer who has licensure to practice law in the United States. So if you have these previous degrees, you can pair your education with an LLM degree in order to become qualified to take the New York bar, just as if you had a JD in the United States. So the bar exam is offered 2 times per year. It's a very rigorous test that focuses mainly on 8 subjects of US law. And our LLM degrees are designed to make sure you study these areas of law and that your LLM has the correct degree requirements so that BOL will recognize you've studied enough US law, BOL being the Board of Law Examiners that assigns students seats at the bar exam in order to take this test. So I want you thinking about if that's something you're interested in doing, because that might help you decide which of our 2 primary LLM degrees are correct for you. So you'll see here those 2 degrees are the LLM in United States Legal Studies and the LLM in Transnational Legal Practice. And that can be with or without a bar track. So if you're joining our LLMs, well, either one of these degrees, there are certain required courses that you will take while at St. John's. All of our LLM students will take Introduction to US Law and Lawyering. This is a course that gives you 3 credits and gives you sort of a baseline overview of the United States law and how law is practiced in the US. So if you're approaching the LLM degree and wondering, am I ready? I don't really know too much about United States law. This is sort of a class that starts on your first day of our program that helps you make sure you have the same background knowledge related to US law as anyone who earned their first degree in the United States. All of our LLM students take this course so that they can have a class together and also gain this extremely relevant background knowledge. Additionally, all of our students are required to take legal research, analysis, and writing 1 and 2, one in their first semester and the other in their second semester. Now, if you're coming to the United States and English is not your first language, improving your ability to complete legal writing is an essential goal that you should seek in your LLM program. We realize that, if you are new to using English in a professional setting, or you haven't worked before in a global law firm, getting practical experience in a class that teaches you how to write legal memorandums that are used in the workforce, how to write trial briefs and case briefs and the other documents that lawyers write is essential. So we require that all of our students take these classes. Additionally, if you want to take a bar exam in the United States, the Board of Law Examiners requires that you complete a writing course. So this helps you fulfill that requirement. Now, if you're interested in taking the bar exam, you will also take professional responsibility. This is a course about legal ethics that all lawyers in the United States must complete. So we have added that to our curriculum to make sure all of our LLM students who are interested in pursuing work in the United States or getting the complete United States LLM experience take this course. So all of our students in the United States Legal Studies and the Transnational Legal Practice Bar Track LLM will take these courses. Now, those are 3 courses. You will earn 24 credits in your LLM degree. These courses are all 3 credits each, so that is 9 of the 24 credits, leaving 15 credits for your degree to be in courses that you choose. So if you are interested in taking the bar or practicing law in the United States, we would encourage you to sign up for elective courses that are tested on the bar, that constitute the core of United States legal practice: constitutional law, evidence law, business organizations, contracts law. All of those courses, which are mixed courses that have both LLM and JD students in it, are available to students in our LLM programs. If you are not so interested in taking the bar and just want to do an international law focused TLP degree, the LLM in Transnational Legal Practice, you can add courses such as international law, international business transactions, human rights law, international trade, or other subjects that you are interested in. We have a large variety of classes, and you will get to speak with a dedicated academic advisor who will help make sure you add the right electives to the required classes that you are seeing here. And then finally, I would say that we offer bonus courses called Applied Legal Analysis and Drafting Practice Documents that are essentially bar preparation courses for LLM students. If you're going to take the bar and want to pass this test, I would recommend you sign up for these courses so that you can learn how to write answers to questions that are asked on this bar exam. And you can learn, specifically how to know which subject matter is tested on the bar. So I know it's a lot to take in right now, and you will have plenty of time with an academic advisor if you choose to come to St. John's. But I just wanted to start getting you thinking about the curriculum of our degree programs, because that is why you're getting an LLM, not just for the networking opportunities and the location in New York, but also for the legal education that we take very seriously in the classroom here at St. John's. So, after you've actually signed up for classes and you've put some thought into what your classes will be and whether your LLM is going to be in US legal studies, focusing on US law and the bar exam, or transnational legal practice, focusing on international law, you will actually get support here while you go through these classes. So the first sort of support that we offer actually comes before you take any classes at St. John's, and that is our English for American Law Schools virtual class. So we have designed a course here that can be taken virtually before you start your LLM program at St. John's. It is an online course where there are some, virtual Zoom meetings, and there is also work that you complete and talk about with a professor on your own time for the 4 weeks before you start your LLM program. So the professor of this course has designed a curriculum that is meant to prepare students who are about to start an LLM to have some background knowledge that will help them be able to understand the background of the US legal system and practice their legal English and legal vocabulary before they start the LLM degree. So that professor, it's going to be Professor Horowitz this December, if you're interested in the January LLM, is going to go over the fundamentals of the American legal system, legal writing, legal argument, and how to read legal texts. So if you are interested in getting some background knowledge and practice before you start the degree, I would help you sign up for this course, and I would make sure you get a scholarship for it so that you can come into your LLM feeling as prepared as possible. And then once you start your actual degree at St. John's, you have a personal academic advisor who will make sure you make the correct course registration decisions, choose courses that are best for you and for your interests. We also have, in addition to your advisor, someone whose job it is to provide support to LLM students, someone who makes sure you understand how to read case law, because the United States is a common law system, and frequently we learn the law by reading cases that show the law in action. Someone who tells you how to study for final exams or how to write papers if your class requires a paper, so that you can get the best possible grades in your LLM program. We have a writing center, which is dedicated to helping students improve their writing. And also your courses are taught by, tenured faculty members usually, or scholarly professors, but those professors hire teaching assistants who can have one-on-one meetings with you to make sure you understand contract law or evidence law or international law, or whichever course that you're taking. So we're pretty proud here at St. John's about our resources that we have to help LLM students with academic support. And then finally, I've already alluded to it before, but one of the things we are most proud of about our LLM is that we help students who have previous law degrees qualify to take the New York Bar exam. So if you apply to the Board of Law Examiners and are approved to sit for the New York Bar if you want to take it, we will make sure that you get access to bar preparation classes so that you can take this test and succeed in this test after your program here at St. John's. So let me pause for a second as we sort of shift gears from talking about academics to talking about career development and experiential learning in the LLM program, which is another sort of major keystone of our LLM degrees. So here at St. John's, one of my close colleagues, Professor Sarah Drew, will serve as your dedicated career advisor for LLM students. She works with all the LLM students in our program, and right now it's around 50 LLM students, on finding internships while they are a student, if that's something you are interested in doing, and improving their career prospects for after you graduate. So this can do anything from introducing you to previous LLM graduates, helping you network with them, helping you improve your own job application strategies, such as helping you draft a resume and a cover letter and the other typical materials you use to apply for jobs, as well as having mock interviews with you so that you can get accustomed to what it's like to interview for a job in the United States. And when I say a job in the United States, I say that because it is an actual option for many of our students, even if you are here on a student visa. So if you look to the far right of this slide, you know, if you study for one consecutive year in the United States, earning an LLM, you are eligible to get the OPT work visa, which means you can extend your student visa 1 year so that you can work for pay in the United States. So Professor Drew, your career advisor, will help you apply for this and help you find a job that you can use to gain practical experience. And Joe's jobs run the gamut from major international law firms and international corporations to local law firms, depending on what you're interested in. And fortunately, because of our location in Queens, New York, in New York City, which is one of the most diverse areas of the world, you know, we have a large database of local employers who truly value students who have international experience, maybe students who are bilingual. This is appreciated here in New York City more than anywhere else in the United States. So in addition to that post-graduation option, we also can help you get an internship during your course of study if that's something you're interested in. Most student visas offer CPT, which is called Curricular Practical Training, which means that if you want to take an internship during your time in the LLM program that has you placed at a law firm or a global organization, that is something you are allowed to do on your student visa, and your career advisor will help you find an option for that. All right, so putting aside sort of all the classes and the support in the career, I now want to make sure, since we have already reached the half-hour mark, that you know what you need to do if you are interested in applying for St. John's. So again, we have limited time here to talk about everything. So I'm going to give you plenty of opportunities to stay in touch with me if you want to know more detailed information about everything I've talked about so far. But before we get to sort of a Q&A time, I do want to quickly go over what our application procedure is and what is required to apply. So the first thing you'll see here is a link to our website where you can find this information at any time, even out of this PowerPoint. So do make sure to note that, and I'll make sure you get access to that. So in generally, there are a few things that we want to see in all of our applications. And these can be done through an online portal, which I will make sure you have access to. We do want you to upload a resume. This is just a document that summarizes your achievements. Where have you previously studied? Where have you previously worked? What were your job experiences like? Things like that show that what you've done before you consider getting a master's in law LLM degree. So we'd ask you to upload a resume. We'd also ask you to upload transcripts. Now, if your transcripts are not in English, we may ask for you to get a foreign transcript evaluation. However, we have some flexibility there. So what I'm going to recommend to you is to start by uploading the transcripts that you do have. available to you, even if they're not translated. And then our admissions team can take a look at them and see if we need any more information. Because looking at the transcripts will show us that you've earned a previous law degree and what sort of things you studied. So we obviously want to see that you had some success in your other education. With that said, we don't have any sort of minimum, and we're willing to consider the holistic nature of your transcript and what your past experience is. We also do ask that you submit 1 or 2 letters of recommendation. This can be from a former professor, a former colleague, someone who's willing to go on record to say, you were good to work with, or you were a positive academic contributor to the class, or you did well in their class. It doesn't need to be a lengthy statement. It can just be a paragraph or 2, but we do hope to see one of those on your application. Then down here, we have just 3 other things. A personal statement, which is just, again, a paragraph or 2 about why you want an LLM degree, why you think you're right, or that this is the right time for you to earn an LLM degree, and why you think you'd succeed at St. John's Law. And we also ask, if you have one, to submit a writing sample, something that you've written in an academic nature or at the workplace, if possible, that shows that you can write in English. And if you don't have something like that right away, that's something you can talk to me about, and we can see what options exist for you. So I don't want you to freak out about a writing sample and have that prevent you from considering applying. And then finally, the final requirement for the LLM application is that you do submit an English language proficiency score. This can be through taking the TOEFL or the IELTS test. It could also be by taking the Duolingo test, which is sort of online based. And what applicants are telling me is that that is a little simpler than sitting for a TOEFL test. It doesn't matter which one you submit. And it's possible that we can grant you a waiver if you've studied in a country where English is the first language, or you earned a degree in English before. But generally, for most applicants, we do want to see a test score. And then we can go over later, what that test score should look like. So currently, we are accepting applications for spring 2023 and fall of 2023. So our spring semester starts in January, on January 9th. So if you are interested in starting your LLM in January, having your first semester be the spring of 2023, your second semester the fall of 2023, definitely apply soon. Stay in touch with me soon. If you are interested in starting in August, which is when the fall semester starts, I would definitely start thinking about things now for sure, but know that the deadlines for that are going to be in April. So there is a little bit more time. And then finally, let me talk a little bit about tuition and scholarships, because we are proud of what we offer at St. John's, but I'm sure it's of interest to you. What does it cost to earn the LLM? So our tuition is on a per credit basis of $28.50 per credit. So in order to achieve 24 credits, that would be $66,000, which is a substantial amount of money, but in line with what other New York LLMs charge. The good news is we automatically consider all of our applications for scholarship. And this scholarship can go up to 50% of the tuition. So generally, if you're applying, you should go into it thinking, $30,000 to $35,000 is likely to be the tuition cost of the LLM. If my application shows that, I'm eligible for a scholarship, it will consider you for one of those at the time of application. So do know that these scholarships are available. The base price is pretty much always deducted for students So definitely go into applying for it with an open mind, and we will consider you for a scholarship, and I will help make sure that you get, the scholarship that is befitting your application. So before we move into Q&A, I just wanted to make sure you got to see, in addition to my email address, which was on the first slide, we also have a general email address for our admissions team, which is llm@stjohns.edu. And then we also have a frequently asked questions on the website, and the link to that is there. So please, feel free to check those out, to stay in touch with us. And I think I'll turn the mic back to Gareth for Q&A.
Thank you, Carl. That was very engaging, and I'm sure everybody watching will completely agree. There was a lot of information in there, which was fantastic. So at this stage, before we go any further, I'd like to welcome everybody listening to this on our podcast channels. Everybody watching on social media as well. We can't get around to all your questions, so we'll just spend 5 to 10 minutes just talking a little bit about SJU Law and where they're based, and so from there, Carl, I know you've mentioned it quite a lot already about SJU Law and where you're based, and I think it's a huge factor as to why somebody would come and study. You guys are based in Queens, a very well-known area within New York. Tell me what that makes you stand out to other competitors of yours, because the likelihood is, it's a very competitive market in New York. Students will be looking to come to New York as a city, as a state, as a region, and with the likes of, just off the top of my head, Brooklyn, Fordham, Syracuse, Cornell, Columbia, some big names. What makes you stand out compared to them? What makes you different?
Well, I'd say our very strong focus on helping students achieve the New York bar exam, the support that we give with dedicated professors who teach classes just to get students qualified to practice law in New York, if that's something they are interested in. Okay. And then, of course, Queens is sort of the more residential part of New York City. So I'd say it really is the best of both worlds. You're not in a skyscraper for your law school classes. You're in sort of a real, true campus, beautiful lawns, residential areas, all that amenities. And then in less than 20 minutes, you can be standing in the middle of Manhattan, in the center of, Times Square or the center of the world, as we like to think of it. So I'd say we stand out from other New York law schools because we actually help you become a lawyer in New York or become an international lawyer who has that credential. And, we're sort of in a part of New York that's unique for being, residential and having more space, but still, in with it.
Excellent. And in terms of international students, because ultimately, like you mentioned earlier on, a lot of people watching and listening will be international students coming to New York. Does it make it a very cosmopolitan, cultural place to live, especially in Queens, especially on campus? Does it make it a great place to study because of that? Is there a good vibe going on at the law school?
I'd say so. I'd say that Queens is known for having the most languages spoken in, a 5 by 5 mile area, as we say in the US, miles, yes. More so than anywhere in the world. It has a large population of immigrants. It has a large population of people like me who are from New York, and we're all living and working together. So it's certainly a place where someone from another country can feel safe and can feel comfortable and can feel valued. I'd say it's unlike anywhere else I've ever been in the world, and I've been all over the world working with law students.
And accommodation, is it all on campus? Is it all on site? Is it all within Queens? Or do you have quite a lot of students living in the likes of, let's say, Manhattan, like you mentioned, and traveling in, or is it all within a very small radius?
Well, it's definitely an option for people to commute in if they want to live in Manhattan. And a lot of students do take advantage of that. Personally, myself, I live in the Upper East Side of Manhattan, a big, hustle and bustle area. And I just hop on the train every morning and show up here at St. John's, and a lot of students do the same. And if you want sort of the best of both worlds, that's an option, especially for students who are going to get internships in Manhattan, who will, want to be nearer to where they work. But still, it's only about a 25-minute train ride from sort of the center of the city to Queens. But there's also a large number of students who live on campus, who live on the streets adjacent to campus. So that way they can, walk to school every day without any problem. So it's certainly a mix.
Important to mention that makes it a lot more affordable as well if you live much closer within Queens, away from Manhattan a little bit, and obviously you're walking into campus rather than traveling. So all that adds up. So those that are watching, don't always think, oh yeah, I can live in the hustle and bustle like Carl in Manhattan. It does.
No, I think that's good you brought it up, because that is something I failed to mention when you brought up what sets us apart from other schools, and that is that our area is more affordable than a lot of the schools located, amongst the skyrise high school. So that is a good thing to note.
Yeah, and there's everything that goes with it as well. If you're living on the outskirts and you're living, towards, whether it's the Bronx, whether it's Manhattan, wherever you are, you can be isolated as a nice international student coming over to the States, to New York, a big city. You want to be amongst other students that are alike. So very important. I want to talk about what you mentioned on the last slide of the webinar about the resume and what what you're looking for. Can you talk to me about what students should be putting in now? What you would look out for from an admissions point of view? Because I think everything runs through you from an LLM perspective on their resume. So what are you looking for?
Well, we are looking for a previous study in law. It is important for you to have studied law before you get an LLM, because it is a master's degree that builds off another study. So that is, if definitely indicate what your past experiences are with law. And that even if you're currently getting your law degree, include that. So as long as you have some law-related experience, it could be from school, it can be working as a paralegal, an intern. It doesn't have to be that you practice law. That's just something that I want to see. So don't be shy about including anything that's voluntary, being a volunteer, being an intern, because that won't turn us off. We just want to see that you have a focus on law. And if you've studied law, didn't necessarily work in law, that's okay too, because you have studied law before. So show me that, and there'll be something that we can work with.
And presumably it's not just what it's who you are as a character. New York is full of plenty of characters. It's a great city to live in. Presumably you're looking for students that will fit in, will fit the culture at the law school. So even if they're not as academically brilliant as another student, it's important to have the right characteristics. Is that fair?
I'd say so. We look at everything, the word I use is holistically. So we know that no applicant is perfect. We just want to see that, you have a reason for wanting the LLM degree. If you're willing to invest your time in more study, that's a great sign to us, but we want to know why. What are you hoping to achieve? And if you can write about that in sort of a comprehensible way, a way that makes sense to us, you're starting to paint a portrait of why you're a deserving candidate for this degree.
For sure. And I just want to finish up on one important point. The webinar, the presentation mentioned 2 intakes. You've got the summer and fall. Talk to me, or the winter and the fall, should I say. So talk to me about the differences between those, what students can expect, because they're big time differences. One's coming during a vibrant time of the year where it's very busy, very warm, different time of the year, to winter where it can feel a lot different, I would imagine.
Yes, but I will say that we spend a lot of effort making sure the students who start in January or spring get the same exact experience as students who start in August. So we actually, I would say that while the climate might be different, we make sure you get the same sort of orientation, the same, professors. We offer the class, similar class sizes, both in spring and fall. So I'd say the only real difference is how it impacts you. If you are ready to start in January, go for it. If you are ready to start in the fall, maybe you're still earning your first degree right now, you can afford to wait. But we will do everything we can to replicate the experience so that it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you start in January, a bonus is that if you're only here for 2 semesters, you actually get to stay for the summer in between. So you're going to be here for 12 months at a minimum. Whereas if you do fall and then spring, it's more of an August to May 9-month experience. So do note that.
Of course, you get the same. I think a lot of people will worry and think, I'm starting in January, I'm only getting 2 semesters, it's not going to be the same learning. Important to point out, you get the same hours and the same coverage, don't you? So there's no loss, there's no detrimental effect to starting any earlier. And what you mentioned then as well, and we did a webinar with another law school not long ago, actually, who pointed that exact same point out that you just did about 2 semesters and they're here for the summer. Because if you can come in the summer, sometimes a lot of people come early, they settle down, it's stressful, it's hard, and then you're straight into it, and then they finish the end of their course, and quite often they can't enjoy it because they've got to go back to their either respective countries or, straight into a job. So that time, that summer, at the end of it is invaluable. Is that right?
Yes, I'd say so. And the truth of the matter is, these days, almost all of our students do take advantage of the work visa. They do end up staying for more time, whether it be a full year or just a couple months, to get practical work experience. So we're fortunate that because we have so many connections to employers in the United States and in New York, we don't really say, thanks for studying here, goodbye. You get to stay a little bit longer if you're interested and get some work using that option.
Excellent. Carl, thanks for your time. It's been much appreciated. We're going to have to wrap things up there just because of time constraints and everything else. But it's been a great session. So thank you for your time. This will be on demand. So anybody that wants to catch up on any of the Q&A or any of the presentation from Carl at SJU, please head over to LLM Study. That will be available from tomorrow, midday UK time. So head over, watch anything you've missed, and any questions, please head over to either SJU Law's website or email myself, where the contact details will be on at the end. But Carl, huge thank you. For now, if you'd like to turn your camera off, put your mute on, huge thank you. At this stage, I just want to show everybody the opportunity we got for the £500 bursaries. Now, any student studying anywhere around the world, whether you're looking to come to the USA, the UK, anywhere around Europe, is eligible to apply for this. You just need to head over to one of our partner websites, llmstudypostgrad.com, and go onto those websites and you can find out more information on the pop-up or go to register. If you're looking to study full-time, part-time, online in January, during winter, or in the summer or fall, head over, you can apply. It doesn't influence any other funding that you might have already applied for. So that's really important. So anybody watching this, anybody registered for any of the webinar sessions, there will be one exclusive student that has signed up that will win this bursary. So please head over and apply. You've got nothing to lose. So any questions, please do let us know. But for now, a huge thank you to everybody behind the scenes at SJU Law, who's also made this session happen. Huge thank you to Carl today, today's guest at SJU Law, for presenting, taking the time to organize everything, and engaging in the Q&A. And if anyone has any questions, there's my contact details, gareth@postgradsolutions.com. I will see you next week for the University of Minnesota's webinar session. But for now, a huge thank you, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.